I today have for you a disgusting new height of narcissism. $1,200 stimulus checks are potentially being delayed because the narcissist in chief, Donald Trump, wanted his signature printed on all of the checks. So it looks like he's sending you the money. People are waiting for those $1,200 stimulus payments. Some people have already gotten them via direct deposit. People who, the first batch was people who filed taxes already electronically for tax years 2018 or 2019. They were the first to start getting $1,200 direct deposits. Some people are now waiting on direct deposits. But then there's another group, and it's a group that's disproportionately underbanked. They may either not have access to a bank account. They may or may not have regular access to the internet to actually get set up with direct deposit. So they are waiting for a paper check. Arguably, those are the people who most desperately need the money. And it's possible they are now going to be delayed because, as the Washington Post reports, the Treasury Department has ordered the IRS to print Donald Trump's name on the stimulus checks, a last minute change, which could delay payments to millions and millions of Americans. Now, the Treasury is saying, well, we're not so sure that it's actually going to cause a delay. They're denying that that's definitely the way that it's going to go. It could cause checks to be delayed several days or longer, according to senior Treasury officials. So a couple different things. Number one, this has never happened before. Never in history has a president's name ever appeared on an IRS disbursement. Now, the Treasury Department told the president, you can't be the one signing the checks. Trump wanted to be the one signing the checks, but Trump doesn't have signing authority for funds coming from the Treasury or IRS. Why? Because Trump is not formally, he's simply not on the list. You know, if I have a business, I have to tell the bank who is allowed to sign checks for my business. Trump, the president, is not allowed to sign checks from the Treasury or IRS. So what they're doing is, instead of Trump signing the checks, it's so pathetic how triggered this guy is by not having his name on everything. They're putting his name in the memo because he can't sign the check. So instead, his name is going in the memo. At first, Trump was insisting he has to sign them. He was told it's just not going to happen. So now this is what they're doing. If Trump is going to be signing anything related to what's going on right now, it would make more sense for him to sign the death certificates of people tragically dying from coronavirus than for him to be signing stimulus checks, because it's not his money. It's really our money. And in reality, he should be signing nothing. And we would all be better off if he wasn't even involved in the coronavirus response. But that's another story, which you are probably very familiar with at this point in time. Chad Hooper is the national president of an organization for IRS managers. Chad Hooper says this is an abuse of government resources. Is anybody shocked by this, though? From day one, Trump has been abusing and misusing government resources for his own personal benefit. It's not Trump's money. This has never been done before. Trump is used to putting his name on a building, and he wants it on the checks. And it is egomaniacal nonsense to the nth degree. And that doesn't change or stop because we're in a pandemic. This is Donald Trump. And the other factor of this is this says a lot about what Donald Trump thinks about the electorate. Donald Trump thinks the electorate is so gullible and that voters are so shallow that maybe they see Trump's name on the check and they decide, I'm going to go and vote for him. And I wish I was able to tell you, obviously, that won't work. But Trump won in 2016. So clearly these types of cheap bamboozling tactics, these cheap, shallow tactics, they do work on many voters. And that's the saddest thing of all. Did y'all cash your Trump checks? Well, then stop complaining about them. It's going to work on some voters, and it makes it all the more urgent that we remove this malignancy in November. After the break, I'm going to talk about Barack Obama's endorsement of Joe Biden. I'm going to talk about Bernie Sanders escalating his claims that it is irresponsible not to vote for Biden in November. That's Bernie who's saying that. All of that coming up after the break. Make sure you're following me on Instagram at David Pakman. The urban gardening coronavirus quarantine project is growing by the day. Follow me on Instagram at david.pakman to follow the exciting adventure. If you love feeding your intellectual curiosity, but you're always struggling to find the time, check out one of my all-time favorite apps called Blinkist. Blinkist lets you consume an entire book on your way home from work. They take thousands of popular nonfiction books, condense each one into text or audio that you can get through in just 15 minutes, and you get all of the important core ideas and information from that book. It's perfect if you don't have enough time to do all the reading you want to do, or if you just want to sample a book before you buy the entire thing. I recently read A Brief History of Time, of course, by the great Stephen Hawking. This is a book that I have been aware of for so long, and other things got in the way, and it was fantastic to check it out on Blinkist. Blinkist has books on politics, philosophy, science. They have 27 different nonfiction categories, and a subscription is only about $8 a month, and you get the entire library. But you can try it totally free and get 25% off a subscription when you go to Blinkist.com/Pakman. I've put the link right underneath this video.